Here we are. We're going to start talking about Laura Kasischke's novelette called Eden Springs, and I am joined by three guests who I admire greatly. And the first is Laura Thomas. She is the head of University of Michigan Residential College's Creative Writing Program, and her short fiction and essays have appeared in numerous journals and anthologies, including the Cimarron Review, Nimrod International Journal, Epiphany, Midwestern Gothic, and others. And her novelette, An Uneven Recovery, can be found online at Novella T. Thank you, Laura.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
Kelly Rose Voigt. She's an actress from Farmington, Michigan, with a sharp interest in young adult fiction. She attended the Lee Strasberg Theater and Film Institute and is currently an MFA candidate at Eastern Michigan University. Thanks for being here, Kelly.
Thank you.
Gary Lehman, a teacher of almost 20 years and has 13 years of experience as an improviser. He is a resident cast member at Go Comedy Improv in Ferndale and at Pointless Brewery and Improv Theater in Ann Arbor. He is soon to complete his MFA in Drama and Theater for the Young at Eastern Michigan University. Thanks for being here, Gary.
Thanks for asking.
Let's talk about the beverages we're enjoying this afternoon. Kelly, what are you having and why'd you choose it?
I am drinking the Sacred Cow, which I chose for its name. It's an IPA, and I'm a liker of IPAs. It's really good. I'm enjoying it thoroughly.
Yeah, good. Sacred Cow is one of their mainstays. Gary, what do you have over here?
I have the Euchre Pils, which is a Pilsner, which I have not seen here before. Mostly they have ales and stuff, so I wanted to try it.
Yeah, ales are primarily what they put out. Now that Pilsner, it's very yellow.
It is. It's very light in color.
It has a very
lots of
distinctive
bubbles.
yellow.
And it has a light flavor. So like, I could drink this all night.
Oh, good,
and not be like, oh.
Yeah, good for a Saturday afternoon. Good for a Saturday afternoon. All right, Laura, what do you have here?
So I have the Bollywood Blonde. It was recommended to me because I like a light beer. I like something a little bit sweet as opposed to bitter. It goes down smooth.
Yeah.
It is great.
So it winds up good.
Nice.
All right, good. Well, and I am having, as recommended by Brian, the Fat Abbot. It has a very strong caramel flavor, which I really enjoy.
And a fancy cup.
And a fancy cup. I want to start the discussion with what you appreciate about the piece. And actually, what I think I'll do is I'll start with you. So talk to me a little bit about what you appreciated in Laura's book here, Eden Springs.
I think the part of it that I liked the most was her voice. I liked her lyrical writing. I liked the elements of, you can tell that this author is also a poet. That is very clear in many of the comparisons that she makes in just like diction choices, that sort of thing. I really liked structure. There was a lot of white space.
So almost he uses, and that is one of the things I really like about the piece, is that the white space gave me a sense that it was almost like a poem. Gary, what do you think? What did you appreciate about the book?
I appreciated the short chapters.
Because your attention is like this? Yeah. I
hate stopping in the middle of a chapter. So like if I'm reading Stephen King and I'm like, all right, I'm going to do the next chapter, because I hate stopping in the middle of the chapter.
Laura, what did you appreciate about it?
So I've read this novel for different reasons, novella, several times. I love the novella. I'm a big fan of Kasischke's work, and this is, in my mind, one of her finest pieces. So I would concur with everything that Kelly and Gary have said, actually, about why I love it so much. The approach to language, the structure is different than other things that I read. The white space, the room to breathe that the reader gets, the parts of the story that are being told. And to me, the white space is all about what parts of the story aren't being told, who's being given a voice. You know, the spare style, the short chapters, even the collage of images, and the beautiful, language that's, very, very poetic and, relaxed but still high diction. is giving a certain type of voice and a certain type of perspective on a story that we know very well. I mean, we know Benjamin Purnell. You know, these figures, these Svengali figures, are in our public life all the time. I mean, this is Jimmy Swaggart. This is Elliot Spitzer. You know, but who's being allowed to tell the story are the women, and that spare psychology and the spare writing is really, I think, speaking to why these guys get away with this, you know. And you know, to me, the way the novel is structured and the brevity of the chapters and where action stops and starts feels like a mystery. Yeah, the writing itself is promoting the mystery to me.
Well, let me ask this overall question, because it speaks to the structure of it. It's a novelette, and so you can read it a couple times in a weekend. It's actually broken up into 3 parts. Any thoughts onto why she did that, or what the significance of those 3 parts is?
So you're thinking about there's the main narrative following Cora.
Right.
There's the italicized weave or passages.
Right.
And then we're dipping back into the history of you know how
I don't even
the House
remember.
of David came to be. Is that kind of the 3 threads?
Yeah. Well, I know that the first part, because I went back and looked, and the first part ends with Myrtle and her father traveling to the House of David. So it does kind of, you know, represent the first part of the people that go to join this colony.
Right.
Then the second part ends with Myrtle. We learn that Myrtle's pregnant. So
But end with the marriages? Is that where it ends?
that's in the third part.
Creepy arranged marriages.
Yeah.
Yeah. And bookended by the gravedigger, who is convinced he sees one thing, but what he thought he saw and he did actually see is not what actually comes to light.
Yeah. So one of the things that I love about the book is that while it can give you this idea that it's a quick read, there's actually a lot to consider about the choices that she made, that she put it into 3 parts, that she has sections that are italicized, that she changes a point of view at different sections. There is real thought put into the construction of the piece. And I really appreciate that in a very small piece. All right, let's talk a little bit about the plot.
All right.
This is based on a historical place. We know that Benjamin Purnell, he founded this colony in Benton Harbor called House of David. I've actually been there.
Oh.
Creepy as hell.
I bet.
I won't lie to you. And they built an amusement park, and they had a zoo, and they had I think they had an aviary. I mean, they had a baseball team. You had the question about whether or not it was, how much was fiction and how much was nonfiction.
Yeah, I mean,
Did you like that blur?
Or did it make you uncomfortable,
Yes
like
and
not
no.
knowing?
Because, well, like partway through part 3, I was like, all right, is this what actually happened?
Yeah.
Or, because there's no, like, I literally was like reading the back and like all the little blurbs. I'm like, where does it say that this is like a nonfiction, like alternate history? Like, what's going on?
What was it? Was it the?
It was the real pictures and the real blurbs.
Yeah.
And then I would read it and be like, oh, well, this is what happened.
And then you get into
wait,
the third part, and the girls are getting married off. Was that the part where you asked, did this really happen?
No, it was just that point
earlier.
of the book.
Okay.
It was like, it was at a particular point where Cora makes a big decision. And I was
Yes.
like, is this what really happened?
Yes,
Or is
I
this
see.
a dramatization? Like, is this the Titanic version of
Right.
Eaton Springs? Like, there's real historical events, but they've weaved a story through it?
Yeah.
Or is this what actually happened because she did all this research and she knows?
Yeah.
Like, and I was really thrown. It was probably all the actual blurbs that were throwing me off. And then I was like,
Yeah.
So
Laura,
one
is that
thing
tricky to do? Yeah.
So one thing that interested me when I went, so this book did prompt me to go and just do a little bit of research to kind of figure out what was true and what wasn't, because the way the novel's written, it's written mostly from the point of view of the women, and therefore, there's less of a historical record, I think, because
Yeah.
the newspaper accounts would of course be about Benjamin Purnell himself in the colony, and a little bit less about the nuts and bolts of the followers or their biographies.
Right.
So I think it was a smart choice if you're going to fictionalize, this event, to choose those characters. When I went and did a little bit of research about Purnell's fate, because we know that he, gets sick and dies. He has tuberculosis and he has diabetes, which is in fact true. I think what Laura, the part of the story that Laura didn't tell, she stopped the novella where the police are approaching the women saying, well, we want you to testify. I hope I'm not giving anything away.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
But if you testify, we'll get you out of this place. We'll, get you nice dresses. We'll get you set up.
Yeah.
We're looking for testimony. But we never learn who testified, what the outcome was.